Details begin trickling out about Julio Urias' arrest. Caleb Williams brushes off questions about his future in the NFL. And NFL executives agree the Rams are going to stink. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is September 8th, 2023, Friday. Later tonight, I'm going to be posting the latest episode of Friday Night Chalk Talk, where we're going to discuss the four major football teams in LA and what they're going to try to do strategically to win over the weekend. But meanwhile, there's always news that comes out about LA sports, and if you'd like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that and let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. It's always good stuff talking about when it's LA. So before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Chris Taylor hits a 3-run home run. Ryan Pepio takes a perfect game into the 7th. Dodgers 10, Miami 0. I get it. They've lost the last two series. They are in a glide path to the playoffs. They're just basically trying to figure out what pitchers they're going to go with, what matchups, etc. I ain't sweating it. Meanwhile, New York 96, Sparks 89. I would like the Sparks to start sweating it a little bit. The Sparks have lost 5 of their last 6 games. In the process, they have surrendered the final spot in the WNBA playoff bracket. Now, they're not eliminated, but they have 1 game left in the season. They have to win that game and have to hope that Chicago loses their final 2. So, way to back out of rescuing your season, ladies. Way to go. Meanwhile, today, Dodgers are at Washington at 4. Emmett Sheehan is 3-1 with a 5.31 ERA. Mackenzie Gore, 7-10 with a 4.28 ERA. TMZ reported yesterday that Julio Urias, the now on administrative leave, not technically suspended, Dodgers pitcher, was seen pushing a woman into a fence near BMO Stadium on Sunday after the LAFC match with Inter Miami. Then the LA Times pitched in with their own 2 cents, said a concerned citizen was the one who flagged the police down. The report from TMZ added stadium employees got involved. Urias and the woman apparently were allowed to continue to go to their car, and then things got heated again. Now, what exactly that means, I don't know. They just said things got heated, whatever that means. And then the Fun Boys came in. Now, I probably shouldn't call them the Fun Boys, because in case you don't know who the Fun Boys are, back in college, my friends and I used to like to call the cops the Fun Boys. Because when you're having too much fun, the Fun Boys show up. So yeah, the LAPD, the Fun Boys, they arrived. I don't think Julio Urias had any fun after that. Just saying. So details starting to come out. There's apparently an eyewitness. So there you go. Mookie Betts left Miami on crutches. Now that is suboptimal, wouldn't you say? Basically, early in the game, he fouled the ball off his foot. He continued for a few innings before coming out of the game. Why not? It was a 10-run ass kicking, right? So x-rays are negative. It is very likely that he will not be out long. He might be back in the lineup as soon as tonight. Caleb Williams was asked if he and his father are on the same page. We talked about this news story yesterday. Carl Williams said that it's not a sure thing that the Heisman Trophy winner over at USC will declare for the NFL draft at the end of the season. So, obviously, the scribes wanted to make sure if this was a unified front that the Williams family was presenting. Now, from what I'm understanding about Williams' family, this is not a Lonzo Ball, LeVar Ball situation where the elder Williams can't wait to have a microphone jammed in front of his cake hole. Having said that, Caleb Williams is still a grown man. He answered it for himself. Quote, "We got Stanford this week. That's what I'll be worried about. Game is 3 days out, so that's the main focus. Main goal is to go out there and beat Stanford and not let my teammates down out there on Saturday. That will be the answer to all of those questions toward the NFL. I have 10 more games left here, and then that I've given, and then we're working for the last 3. So that will be the answer for all of that. But next question, please, unquote. Now, if you're looking for a reason Williams might consider another year with the Trojans, keep in mind that he's already in national commercials for Wendy's. Part of that whole NIL thing that we've been talking about ever since this program began about a year and a half ago. You're getting money already. Williams is on campus and he is a millionaire. Would you hold out for another year just to live off that NIL money? Because it ain't exactly chump change, guys. You're not struggling to see if you can go to a movie anymore. Yesterday, we spoke about how NFL executives were ranking teams in the AFC for The Athletic. So The Athletic also released their rankings for the NFC. And the Rams, PU. They think the Rams are just going to stink. The Rams came in 15th out of the 16 NFC football teams. Now then people started to hedge their bets, these unnamed NFL executives, because of course, you know, Sean McVay is a pretty bright fellow. Quote, they are going to be well coached. Talent-wise, it's not there. That was what the quote from one exec. Another wondered how many of their defensive starters would actually start for other teams aside from Aaron Donald. Now, I got to be honest. These are all fair assessments. I also have to be honest. When I talk about the Rams, I feel compelled to hedge my bets too. Because of Aaron Donald and Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. The players that the Rams have that are elite are really elite. So, frankly, you'll even see it on Friday Night Chalk Talk tonight. I definitely hedge my bets. I think Seattle is actually heading into a trap this Sunday. But I've been out of my mind before. We're going to have a lot clearer idea of what the Rams actually are by Monday morning. Speaking of lack of clarity, how exactly are the Kings going to split time between their two goaltenders? It's a pretty even match if you look at it. Neither Cam Talbot, the free agent, or the incumbent Phoenix Copley are a sure thing to be the number one. And by the way, LA spent the least amount of any NHL team on goaltending in the offseason. They're 3 goalies. The other one is like a reserve. He's probably going to spend most of his time in Ontario. The 3 of them combined, just $3.4 million. So it's not like the front office has a lot invested in either one. I mean, if you were dropping the money that they dropped all this time on, say, Jonathan Quick, you knew you were going to throw Jonathan Quick out there to earn his keep, to try to justify that contract. That's not the case when you're paying somebody, what, $1.7 million? You just throw whoever the hell you want out there. So then you're sitting there going, okay, well, money's not going to talk. Would experience talk? Not necessarily so. Both goalies have history with Coach Todd McClellan. Talbot played for McClellan over in Edmonton. Copley was with the Kings last year under McClellan. Saved the Kings season, frankly, from sliding into the abyss. But he didn't start the playoffs. So now you're saying to yourself, it's possible, it is literally possible that the Kings goalie situation, until somebody reaches out and grabs a job, could literally be split 50-50. Anthony Davis wanted to play less center next year. He's always wanted to play less center. That's been the MO throughout his career. When he came to LA, Lakers GM Rob Pelinka made a point of mentioning that the Lakers added both JaVale McGee and DeMarcus Cousins so that Davis could slide to the 4. Last year, just to be a team player, obviously, Anthony Davis did play the 5. He did play center. Now, the Lakers knew that that's not sustainable. Davis is kind of fragile. Every time the man hits the court, you kind of have to hold your breath. You don't know if he's getting up. So a columnist for CBS Sports, a dude named James Herbert, took Pelinka to task. Not because he didn't add centers, Pelinka did. He just didn't add the centers that he thinks would have been more optimal. Christian Wood instead of the defensive-minded Bismack Biyombo. And I'm reading this case against Wood, and I gotta be honest, the scribe missed something that I think is kind of important. Wood is not going to be the primary center if the Lakers play a two-big lineup. Jackson Hayes is. Remember, before they signed Wood, the scribes were speculating if the Lakers will go with two bigs, and Wood would be the centerpiece. Not the centerpiece of the offense, just somebody who would actually take the banging in the low post. And to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of Christian Wood. We've said so about this about that in earlier clips. But the reason the Lakers signed him was not for defensive excellence. They signed him for offense when Davis is inevitably hurt. They brought in both centers to make sure that Davis doesn't play the entire game at center, but a few minutes at center. Yeah, Davis could do that per game. So there is an assessment about the signing of Christian Wood that frankly just doesn't make sense. Davis is not going to play center, and Wood is not the primary backup, at least at this point. There are times I go through baseless Clippers and Lakers rumors every single day. It's annoying. Oh, the Clippers are gonna shake the NBA in this projected trade, and then you realize it's just some loser who's, some alcoholic loser in a basement throwing around random player names like it's fantasy basketball or something like that. The sad thing is that actual reporters take part in it too. So I'm thinking of naming any segment involving baseless Lakers or Clippers trade rumors and giving it its own name. Cool story, bro. So here is a James Harden update. This is from ESPN analyst Mark Spears. Quote, "From what I'm told about the Clippers is that they're not being desperate. They feel like they're going to keep watching this fire burn. And at some point, the Sixers could be desperate and they're going to get pennies on the dollar instead of the big demands Daryl Morey is making." Unquote. Cool story, bro. Cool story. We already knew this. You and I have been talking about this for weeks, right? We know what the Clippers are trying to do. We know what James Harden is trying to do. I've even taken it a step further. The Clippers should not go out and get James Harden unless they want to see their locker room get blown to smithereens. But yeah, until then, yes, the Clippers are in fact trying to get James Harden for pennies on the dollar. We knew this. Cool story, bro. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about Caleb Williams brushing off these questions about his future. Do you think he might even consider coming back to USC at the end of the year? Do you in fact think the Rams are going to stink? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back later tonight with Friday Night Chalk Talk. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortell Queso production. Take care.